Hello and welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Stage 3 podcast. There we go. How's it going, guys?
What's up?
Nothing much. Let me just kill this music here. Where am I getting this music from?
Hello and welcome.
I don't know.
I'm hearing myself. Mute that. Whoops. I swear I changed that the last time. Alright. What is up, everybody? We are here today with the Stage 3 podcast, featuring Insane 521, Saber, and special guest Tonic. How's it going, guys?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
It's been a good night so far.
It's about to get better.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we set up since we've put on a podcast. It's been about 3 weeks, I think. So what's everyone been up to? Let's start with well, since you're our special guest, Tonic, let's start with you. What have you been up to for the past few weeks?
Getting my stream up and going. I've been practicing a lot with my team. And
Sorry, guys. There we go.
Darling, I'm sorry to
There we go.
off, but we were all frozen.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Said the
Whoops.
derpiest looks on our face. Oh my god.
Hey, chat loves it. If chat loves it, that's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
That's
Insane
all that
definitely
matters.
Insane.
I had the best
face.
one. I had the best one.
Had the best
Bar
face.
none.
Yeah, I need more than 2 monitors. That's the issue. But all right, back to you, Tonic. What have you been up to, dude? So you've been streaming. You've got your team. Stage 3, no relation to the podcast, of
No
course.
relation at all. He does not coach us. Don't worry, guys.
You might win more if I did.
Oh my god. Starts early.
Oh,
Starts early.
this is what it's like.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, we've been practicing a lot, mainly against high competitive level monsters, so I don't really want to reveal their names. I'm sure they wouldn't mind, though. But yeah, just streaming and practicing, getting game better.
Cool, cool. And Saber, manager and owner of the Evolve Hype franchise. What have you been up to, dude?
What have I been up
It's,
to?
it's kind of a franchise, right? It's a
building up.
multi-platform gaming organization. It's a bit of a franchise right now.
What have I been up to? Just really helping manage and coach both our teams, and really trying to push the brand forward, and hoping that I get to see everybody in California.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
The chicken and waffles hype.
Yeah.
Looking
Okay,
forward
so-
to actually meeting the rest of your team in person.
Absolutely. So the ongoing half joking, half serious joke is that we want to be the first ever sponsored by Roscoe's Chicken and Waffle team. So if Chicken and Waffles is watching, we are looking at you guys because we love your food. Yeah. So Chicken and Waffle.
You think you
Yeah.
can do it?
Oh. Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah, that's the big motivation, is that the whole team, hopefully before we play in the LAN, if we end up making it, we would all just go to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles as like a ceremonial thing. You know, it needs to happen.
It needs that.
So yeah.
Okay. And what about you, Corey?
Yeah, and just doing my thing. Bought an Xbox, playing on the Proving Grounds with the rest of Evolve Hype. That's been quite the interesting journey, if you will. Went on as a monster player, and now I'm an assault player, so that's a definite change of pace. Haven't got to stream too much. I don't know, just kind of focusing on school. Just got done with midterms, so I might have a little bit more time to stream on PC. I don't really like streaming on Xbox. It's just not like, I don't have music, I don't have a webcam, I don't have a microphone. Like, it's just not anything I wanna put forth. I don't feel like anyone would want to watch it. So, but yeah, other than that, just doing my thing, practicing a lot, practicing like ridiculous amounts. It's kind of crazy right now. So it'll be nice when this Proving Ground qualifier is all said and done and we have some time off.
Wait a minute. Hold that thought. You don't think anyone would want to watch you practice on Xbox because you don't think you could put out the quality? I beg to differ. I think
No,
people would flock to watch you play on Xbox.
It's not the quality. It's just like I have a certain level that I like my stream to be at. Like,
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. The quality, like the quality of your broadcast. You don't think that you could? I think people would still watch you anyway, and I think they would love to.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like, okay, I wouldn't talk. I would just type to respond to questions. It's just bad. Just push to the next topic. Jeez.
All right.
You're digging into me too much, Dan. I don't like it. I don't like streaming on Xbox. Just accept it.
Okay. All right. I think chat will let us know if they
Plus,
would
I
like
can't
to
put
see
a
you
delay
stream on
on it
Xbox
here.
anyway.
I can't put a delay on it, so that's a big because I would stream the tournament. I wouldn't really care because I would just have the Hunter audio off, and then just stream like that. Like that's what I'm gonna do when we go back on PC. So, but yeah, so that's been that. It's fun and interesting.
Fun and interesting, yeah. And we'll see how you guys do in the next couple weeks. Maybe you can actually take first next week.
We hope. They're actually using seeding for the tournament now, so we should have a pretty good bracket. So it's...
What do you mean they're actually using seeding? You mean they weren't sorting each team by their numbered seed?
No, they would just do it random. And like last week we were pretty fortunate. Like we actually played a lot of the top, because we played the top 4 team from last week, at least in the point value. We played them in the first round. We played another I guess top end team before that, and then we played Mammoth Bird, OP, in the quarterfinals. Yeah, it was in the quarterfinals, and then we played API, which is another top Xbox team in the semifinals, and then so. We still had a pretty rough bracket, but I think now that they're gonna have the actual seeding, we're in the 4th seed right now, so we'll be in the 4th spot, and Evolve Hype will be in 3rd, and vice versa for Vanquish and Mammoth Bird.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we should see them go back in the top 4, and if everyone makes it in the top 4 next week, that's when now they pretty much lock in their land slot, depending on how the points go. So
it's going to be interesting how. Since teams are now seeded properly, and there's already so many teams that are kind of right on that fringe of the top 4, that I don't know. It should be interesting to see how the good teams can eliminate each other early on, and I feel like it's going to either dramatically help teams or dramatically make it worse. Because it gives them shots to not have to play against so many teams throughout the bracket, boom, boom, boom. But at the same time, it's basically one or done. So it should be interesting.
Yeah, no, it's a big thing. But yeah, so that's been the proving grounds thing for me, Dan, since you like to ask so many little questions.
Well, I mean, PC
know.
team leaving to play on the Xbox, that's definitely something noteworthy that everyone wants to know about, right?
It's no problem. I mean, all of us used to play competitive games on console at one point. Vode and Bronco used to play Halo 2.
You played Left 4 Dead, right?
I played Left 4 Dead, Call of Duty, Halo, all those. I'm used to it, so it wasn't that hard of a transition. So
no, where are you going to stay after the tournament? You going to stay on Xbox, or are you going to come back to PC?
I'm coming back to the PC, man.
So you guys aren't done with PC. You feel more at home there?
I mean, we were never done with PC, if that makes sense. So it's kind of just the community is just totally different on there compared to the Xbox scene. So I don't know. It's always going to be home, no matter what. So
cool.
Just had to take a leap of faith, if you will, with $100,000 on the line. So
yeah,
felt like it was worth the risk.
Nice.
But yeah, so that's been me.
And
long-winded as always.
Me? Let's see. I've been doing the Sunday Shoutcasts and our new community initiative, the Viewers and Pros games.
Mm-hmm.
A few nights a week, viewers get to play with pros or against pros. We even started doing 4-man teams versus pro monsters and vice versa. Viewer monsters versus pro teams of 4. And Evolve Hype was on. Was it last night?
Yeah, we were there last night.
It feels like it was so much longer now for some reason. I don't know. I've been so busy lately. Got a bunch of other stuff going on behind the scenes that I can't talk about yet, but hopefully pretty soon.
Fingers crossed. Got to find out all those details.
Yeah. Yeah, and then just messing around with other random games on the side. A little bit of Black Desert a couple nights a week. That's about it.
What is it like to play other games? I don't even know that feeling anymore.
It feels weird. It feels like it's not evolved.
It's been evolved every single day, man. It's I can't. I'm really happy to be in the proving ground thing, but man, as soon as we're done, I'm gonna be enjoying that week off that we get because it's gonna be Killing Floor 2 every night.
Killing Floor 2, yeah. Yeah, we'll have to play a round or two of that sometime.
Exactly. But hey, enough about us. I think
Exactly.
I think we're ready. I think we're ready to get into the good stuff. And I guess the thing we're going to start off with tonight was just the tournament scene, general reactions, like on both sides now, since we, Saber and myself, we know a lot about the Xbox scene now, and then you know yourself and Tonic, still being a part of the PC scene. Like we watch it still,
Right.
We still watch the cast and all that.
Oh
But
yeah,
again,
you're there every Sunday before you have to head off to your tournament to compete.
Yeah, because we usually wrap up we usually start right before the finals go on. So we'll kind of be watching the finals in between the games and stuff like that. So, but
yeah. So today's topic is basically about the evolution of the meta. No pun intended, or maybe a little bit.
It
of
is
pun.
intended. Come on.
Evolution.
But Black Aegis' channel.
Yeah, it's got to be a little bit intended. Maybe so basically about the evolution of the tournament scene, both on console and PC, and then from there actually looking at specific aspects of the metagame itself behind the scenes. But we'll start with you, Corey.
Yeah. So I mean, just what I've been watching of the PC, like it seems really interesting right now. Like if you would have told me that Apex would be winning the tournaments and being so dominant like they are right now, I would not have believed you. Like when we departed from the PC scene, they really stepped up, and they've been handling the scene pretty well. And just from what I'm watching, like it seems like a lot of teams are still playing in a lot of the old meta still. Like they're not accepting of the new stuff that's going on. I don't know if they're still doing their gentlemen's agreements or what have you. But
I think there might be some of that going on, yeah.
Yeah. I just want to see people like using the T4 and stuff like that, I guess. And I don't know. It's just from watching the ESL stuff, it's been fun to watch. Like a lot of the teams, like from what I see, like a lot of the middle level teams, like Tonic, I'm gonna pick on you a little bit, but like Stage 3, I wouldn't have considered a top team. Right now, you guys have Esoteric, who I think is a good monster player, and a lot of even Chromo's team are starting to pick up a lot of players that are finally going to be like able to break into that top. Because there was this like the separation for a long time, and even like Salge is a good example of this. Like they were at this middle point where they couldn't really get past this barrier into like the top 4, top 5, whatever you want to call it. And then I think a lot of the PC scene, like from what I'm seeing, like they're all slowly getting better. And then I'm really excited when we come back because, I don't know, it seems like it's going to be a blast to play in the PC scene again.
So the second part of why our PC team went to Xbox was to give everyone a chance to catch up to how good they were. That's really that's really what it was.
Wow.
Strategy.
Wow.
Saber always got to have the chirps.
That sounds like a challenge to me.
Yeah.
I mean, we went over to Xbox and they're handling it well. They're competing. So, when they come back, then they'll have it.
See, Saber just did that way when we go back. We have to perform. Like I remember him saying he was just going to do something like that. He was going to say something like that before this.
So,
yeah.
So that you can't let anyone else show you up when you come back.
If you go back on PC, we have to be at 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, because now you'll just look like complete idiots if you don't.
Yeah. Well,
And it's been
Shame
recorded
family.
now for posterity, so you have to.
Yeah. So that's going to be fun. Thanks, Saber. I appreciate
No problem.
the push. The push was good. But
Papa Saber's got your back.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's just kind of my first reactions to the scene, and I mean, I'm glad that I'm actually seeing a lot of new teams and a lot of new teams getting better, and that's like the one thing I care about. Like I think because like Hard on You is not playing right now. I mean, DTR for obvious reasons, and I don't know. Like once Evolve Hype comes back, and hopefully HOI comes back, and all these big teams that were on the PC, and I don't know. I think the future of it is looking good for the competitive scene at least, and that's one thing I'm really excited to come back, especially from what I've seen on Xbox. Like I'm really, really wanting to come back into that fold. So, but yeah, I mean that's just my first reaction. So, Tonic, you've been playing in the scene. I mean, I guess what's your general thoughts and just first reactions to everything right now?
Yeah, Stage 3's had a pretty strong showing the past couple weeks. So,
Well, I believe Stage 3 has actually only showed twice so far. They played in, like, I believe Cup 5. But
Cup 6, I think, right?
Yeah, either 5 or 6 they played in. That was their big debut in the ESL, and I'm not sure who their monster was then. But, our team they made changes. I wasn't on the team for the first one, so they picked up me as the medic, and then they picked up Esoteric as the monster. So they're actually trying to, like, get better and grow with each other. Yeah. And then for other teams like SOS, they just came in and they got all the way to the semis.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So real impressive.
That was a really impressive showing by them, I agree. And yeah, just as far as meta goes, you see with Tier 4 coming in, a lot of teams maybe felt more confident to go in and maybe beat some of the top 5 teams. Again, SOS, they came in.
Yeah.
That's the only example I can give is because they went the farthest. They did a really great job. So
it's always
I was really impressed with the showing that they put on. They did a phenomenal job last weekend. I can't wait to see what they can pull out this week.
Oh man!
As well, going into this Sunday. What is that? 2 days away now.
Yeah,
that's it.
It's been a short week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has. It's been way
weeks
too short.
in Evolve always feel short. It always feels like you're living on Sunday for the whole week. It's just like, your week just goes by and like, oh, it's another Sunday Cup? Wow. Like, it's just...
Yeah. It's like, where did all that time go?
We need another day in the week for Evolve. But, I guess I'll ask Saber the same question. So, what have you been thinking, even though I know a lot of it, but... Everyone else
specifically
about the PC. Just the whole PC scene right now. Like, just your first...
Well, I mean, okay, so for the PC scene, it's been difficult because of the strife that they felt because of, I think, an unwarranted amount of crying. We can swear on the stream, right? Yeah?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. It's fucking bitching and moaning. They're fucking bitching and moaning like, oh my god, how come we don't have our $100,000 tournament? And it's deterring people. And this tournament is only about a month long. And they leave within like a month. And it's like, well, okay, I guess you didn't really like Evolve in the first place then. And
yeah.
So
that's you're right.
It's just like
you didn't like the game in the first place.
I'm glad a lot of teams have stuck by. Like I know we're sitting here like I'm on Xbox playing it. And it's just I love Evolve. And I just want to compete. But the fact that the PC scene is actually growing in my eyes, like as far as the competitive scene goes, like just like the skill on all the teams, like the fact SOS, Stage 3, and stuff like that are coming up is huge, right? Like that's a good thing. Like, that's a good thing.
I was going to say, in the past 2 weeks that they've announced the Proving Grounds tournament on Xbox, in these past 2 weeks, we've actually had more teams registered on PC than the 2 weeks before it.
Yeah.
And man, it's such a outspoken minority, and it's just like, this is for everything Evolve about complaining. Just go away. Just go away. Go away. Don't come back. Just go away. We don't want you. Like, it's okay, dude. Go play, Mortal Kombat or whatever, but like, we're good. Like, we like our community. Evolve Hype is always about hyping Evolve. Self-plug. But, it's just not necessary. And so the people that really want to win and play, which right now would be Apex, like, they're putting their full grit at it, and they're doing well. And, I think that if you stick into something, especially with, relatively out of the blue, the $100,000 tournament, more than likely, if that does well, there's going to be another tournament and another tournament and another tournament. So, like, the jump off of, jump ship, like, that quickly, it's like, well, whatever, dude. We don't need you. So,
Yeah.
that's how I think about the PC scene. I think that right now there's kind of like a slight recovery just with how, unfortunately, DTR can't play and how Hard On You left, and you have these really high competitive teams. But what it also shows, though, is that there are teams that are coming up through the ranks and are willing to fill that space and try and expand the competitive scene. So I think it's good. I think that there's some bad little shits that need to go away, but yeah, it is what it is.
Just keep it positive.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, we would all like to see good sportsmanship overall from everyone. But I mean, it's a competitive game. Like it's gonna happen in any game you go into. There's always gonna be people that take things a little bit too far over the edge, and that's even in physical sports as well.
Yeah.
It's gonna be wherever you go, but it's the people I think who conduct themselves right publicly that are gonna shine the most, right?
Yeah, I think it's just Saber and even myself kind of have that idea that you don't want that in the community just because that's how Left 4 Dead was, and it kind of killed a lot of the scene. Like, that was a whole nother thing. So I don't even want to get into that. But just from past experiences, I think that's why we're so strong. Against people just sticking together and like working as a group, right? And even with like this last weekend kind of sucked because for the ESL they had the best of 3 rule put on, and yeah, Tonic just already remembers. He's got like nightmares of it in his head.
I remember well.
I remember in my day. I mean, yeah, like the best of 3 thing came out of the blue, right? And that's just something that the ESL I hope they stop doing, because that's one thing that's not cool, right? Like you're changing a rule, a big rule, the day before a tournament. Like, hey guys, here's an email 5 minutes before we start. Enjoy. Like, I hope we have a lot of that stuff going away and like ESL learning from it.
Yeah. I think they are.
Yeah.
To my understanding, they are.
Yeah.
And,
I think they
need that blend object and say, ESL, you need to get your shit together. Please don't let this happen with $100,000 and there's like all these people watching. Just.
Well, that's the thing.
Please.
You would never have it happen with $100,000 on the line.
Oh yeah.
I
mean,
this is still that trial phase, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is fair. Obviously you need the trial phase, and at least they're being proactive, so I'm not trying to be overly harsh, but it's just like there has to be some consistency that people can respect, that people will want to be a part of. Yeah. And if you're not portraying that and you're giving last minute stuff, it just makes it very uncomfortable for a lot of
because that's one thing with the PC scene. Like a lot of the teams just get frustrated with the rules. When rule changes happen, if you can prepare for something, like if you can prepare for change in a given like a good amount of time, like then that'll be good for the scene as a whole. But if you just throw a change like the mastery in tier 4, like what was it, a week and a half ago or whatever it was, that threw a lot of the PC teams for a loop, and they were mad about it because a lot of people weren't ready for it. And now that I think people have warmed up to the whole mastery thing and everything, like we're going to talk about later, like I think it's probably the best version of the game in a long time, or best rule set rather. And I don't know, I think that's just something that people will slowly come into, and I just don't want quick changes to happen in a competitive scene, especially like a PC scene where it's so volatile, like where you can just have everyone not play all of a sudden, or I just want people to keep going, right? And you don't want anything to hurt it. So yeah. I mean, that's just what I've been seeing in the PC scene. So I guess that's where all these feelings come from. Even though we're not playing in it, we still watch. We still pay attention.
Don't worry, we miss you.
Well, I don't think a lot of people do. It's okay. I think people like winning, right? That's
True.
a chirp right there. There you go.
Now,
like the
what
challenge.
about the other teams that are currently missing from the PC scene? What else do we have? We've got HOY, DTR,
and then obviously us. But
right.
I mean, I think HOY will be back. I mean, from what I talked to, like
Wolves Esports too. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm still unsure actually. If I know they. Oh man, what class were they missing? Medic? Was it medic that they were missing?
That was Eyes on You.
Corey's
were-
got an airplane going by.
Okay, that was a
Sound like a
motorcycle.
toilet backed up.
I try and mute it as quickly as I can. Just like, you know, but it's, again, it just can't handle it. But no, like a lot of these teams that were even the old guard, if you will, like I want them to come back because, you know, we like it's frustrating at times. Yeah, I totally get it, and I just want, you know, people to just keep working towards the PC scene growing and helping the game. And even with stuff like, I can mention it now. We mentioned it on, I think, the last stream, but Brandon's Gentleman's League, what he's doing is like a private league where they can use it to gather information about just about the whole competitive scene, right? So they can help it for balance, because that was why he played in the ESL.
Right.
And you know, he needed this insight that he can't get just by like hearing from people. He needs to see it,
Well,
right?
hold on. Let's go back to that for a minute. So let's clarify. So Brandon is the gentleman
Maniac
squirrel, the maniac squirrel. One of the devs, actually a character design artist. He designed most of the monsters, if not all of them, if I recall, for Evolve. But also a very, very competitive player. I mean, you and I used to play Dota with him on a regular basis before this game even launched, before Evolve even launched. So very, very competitive, and he was actually competing in the ESL, not for the €20 potential weekly prize, but rather to get data to feed it back to the design team to say, hey, this works in competitive, this doesn't. So, you know, now that they're not allowed to play, which legally makes sense, right? I mean, let's face it, you know, a lot of people were disappointed about it at the point in time, but when you look at it, there's a lot of legal ramifications involved.
Yeah.
So it really does make sense. But yeah, so now you were saying, going on, and we're looking at this, what did you call it? A private gentleman's league?
It's something that DTR and him have been working
Gentleman's
on.
Club?
It's a gentleman's club. I forget the name. It's just Gentleman's League. You know, it's his own thing that a lot of them had the idea of doing, where, you know, they have these select teams in there that, you know, you just want to get the competitive scene to grow and have a better understanding of the game, and then just going on from there and having these competitive games that we can watch, we can record, and then we can talk to it about, like, with MacMan. Because MacMan's a very, at least from what I gather, like a by-the-numbers kind of guy. Like, he likes seeing the numbers on things. Like, how does this affect, you know, like, what is the effect that a nerf does, you know, the monsters? And we'll talk about that later. But, like, I feel like that's a good thing to have, where you can, you know, like what Tonic does, like recording all the stats and stuff like that. Like, that's helpful. That is huge. And
For those who don't know, Tonic is the one who records all the stats on a weekly basis for us, and that data has recently been getting fed to the devs.
Which I would like to further that more. I'd take those stats and give it to Korn, who actually, you said MacMan likes numbers. He actually puts them in the percentages and makes it a little more relevant. Yeah.
And if you just have like a bunch of numbers, it's just like, ugh. But no, like I was even going through some of his posts this week, and he posted those stats that you had in one of the threads. So I mean, that speaks to me, like, you know, that's the kind of stuff that we need, and that's why, you know, they look to the PC scene for that kind of stuff. You know, because that's what we like doing. It's just, I don't know, we're weird like that over on the PC side. But yeah, I think once all that gets rolling,
we're nerds.
Yeah. And the biggest thing, too, is once that gets rolling, like, every game's going to be casted. Like, that's a rule in that tournament. And, you know, it'll just bring the community together, and that's, like, the whole thing, right? Like, that's always been what a competitive scene needs. It needs to be together. Like, this togetherness, like, working towards a goal. Like, we just want to see this game become competitive, and all of us enjoy it, right? So that's the whole thing. But yeah, enough yammering from me.
And what about you, Saber? What are your thoughts? He's just
To be
smirking.
honest, I'm so distracted. So
Don't look at the chat.
I'm trying not to, man, but I'm just getting tunnel vision. Sorry. Topic.
Oh, wow.
Wow! All right, moving on.
I'm just like, fuck off. Like, I'm just telling all these people.
Moving on. Tonic,
Trying to make me laugh on stream.
the Gentleman's League. What do you think about the Gentleman's League?
Gentleman's League, yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry.
No. You lost your chance.
You lost
Okay, no. Okay, I thought we kept moving. Sorry. All right. Well, so the Gentleman's League, I do have stuff to say about that. So chat can go fuck themselves.
Wow. Wow.
So and and there never
keep
really
in
has
mind
been an
his
official statement.
opinions right there.
Yeah,
Don't reflect everybody else on the show.
They're not this channel's opinions. They're not Evolve Hype's opinions. They're my opinions. But so speaking of Evolve Hype,
he gets mad.
So
okay, sorry. So we never made an official announcement about the Evolve Hype League and it being canceled just due to all kinds of mock-up crap and knowing about the $100,000 tournament and our team leaving PC and stuff like that. So I wanted to be involved with our team, and you know, it was something that we did for the community. You know, it was just volunteers doing the good stuff, fighting the good fight, and you know, it didn't work out. We're bummed. We're not discouraged. So to hear that someone's willing to kind of take that and move forward and be a part of the community and really try and help improve it is a good thing. The only thing I would say is that I hope they learn from the EHL's mistakes and just try and keep improving it. And, you know, because before the EHL, the failed league was the DGL, you know, and sorry, DGL, you know, but it did happen.
I don't even think those players are even.
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
you know,
I know, but yeah. But so it has to keep developing into a better thing. So just obviously, you know, it's with Brandon and DTR, and they're going to be cautious about it. So I feel confident about them doing it.
Right.
I just hope that they do well. And
yeah. I think we all do.
Yeah.
I think we all want an additional league, especially something in the way that it's been proposed to really do well and really succeed. And what about you, Tonic? You have anything to add? Any thoughts? Anything like that?
I mean, the Gentleman League is a great idea, really. And I feel it's going to be a little more, I want to say organized with its rule set. You know, they're not going to push anything like on you the day of or the day before or something. Everyone's going to be clear of what's going to happen for their game. So it's a really great idea, and I'm actually happy we got invited to that. So,
Yeah, that's awesome. Congratulations.
because me, like most players, love playing Evolve, and even though when you play Evolve, like we mentioned earlier, it feels like a short week. Still wish there was more to do.
Yeah, and now you'll have plenty
time
more to
for
do.
Evolve.
Yeah, we'll have more time.
Yeah.
No more lingering to other games in the middle of the week.
Yeah.
It is interesting. It is interesting how something that we did with EHL was that you could schedule your own matches, and it's interesting. It's frustrating for me because I was the guy that was organizing all of it, you know, and talking to all the captains, and it was about like 50-50, where like people wanted to play on a specific day and people didn't want to play. You know, they suck at scheduling apparently, but that wasn't the reason why EHL canceled. But since there's a fixed day, it's like, okay, cool, whatever, you know, we just set up our schedules. But to harass them into like, okay, guys, like we need to get this set up so like, you know, Dan can cast and so on and so forth. So I guess where I'm going with this though is that the teams that are involved have to make sure that they take the initiative to take it seriously, because every single one of those teams is an important part of the tournament. And it's difficult because teams that start to lose a lot obviously don't give as much of a shit. And so there kind of has to be an incentive, and that's what we're trying to do with the HL with the point system, so that it didn't feel like if you weren't 1 through 3, it didn't matter, you know? So we were trying to do that, and I just wanted to do well. So the reason I'm saying this stuff is I'm hoping someone's taking notes, just so, you know, and obviously I'll talk to the DTR guys and try and help them out as much as possible, but
yeah,
I think it's important.
The biggest thing is just giving the feedback, but I think Brandon's ran a lot through me, and I think just hearing, like, you know, from what I've heard of them or from them, and seeing the rules that they have, like, you know, there's even an option where you can turn off DI and DR if you want. Like, if two teams want to, like, hey, let's do that. Like,
they can make a gentleman's agreement to turn it off,
right?
And that's cool.
And the whole focus of the league isn't so much like about the prize at the end. It's just like having good games of Evolve to play and to be among good company while doing it, right? Like, I don't want to get yelled at the end of a game for doing something or whatever. Like, I just want to have a good time. I want to be able to
yelling.
Yeah, it's usually me yelling. but you know, like having a good game. Like whenever I play DTR in the ESL, like when they beat me on or the last tournament they were in, like we were laughing and like we were so happy just for the game. Like it was just a fun game. Like I think Lord Death hit me with like a flame grenade for the kill, right? It was on Dam, and it was just fun, right? Like we were just having a blast, you know. Even though I lost, it was one of the most fun games of Evolve I've played. And like that's the whole thing we want. So we want more games like that to happen and just be fun. So.
And as far as the scheduling goes, I think that will actually work out a lot better. One of the things that I did, Saber, was I actually talked to Brandon about some of the scheduling issues that we encountered from my perspective as a caster. And so I think we have things worked out. He hasn't told me anything definite yet, so I don't know. But what I had proposed was to give a limited selection of slots that teams can sign up for on a couple of days out of the week, so that it's still finite, but there's some choice for the teams.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah, that works. See, look at Dan. Look at this guy.
Good idea, right?
Yeah. I was reading the chat, and Boros, thanks for the compliment, dude. And he was asking why not try it again, and probably after the $100,000 tournament, you know, if there's a lot of interest in it, not a lot, but I mean, you know, if there's enough of a reason, then yeah. We'll definitely give it another go for the EHL. So
supply and demand,
don't get disheartened. Yeah, exactly. It's supply and demand at its finest.
Yeah, but I guess I'm going to push us into our next little thing, and unfortunately, this is really going to be Saber and myself kind of talking about this.
The Insane and Saber show.
well, because you guys don't know much about the Xbox scene, so I mean that's
nope.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess we're gonna talk about that a little bit since we kind of been talking about PC. But we've had the chance, and I've had the opportunity to play against a lot of the Xbox scenes. You know, even through the Proving Grounds, and then practicing on the platform itself. And it's been interesting. Like, you know, one thing, even Tana can probably talk about this. Like I was talking about on my stream on Monday, but a lot of the Xbox teams, like I would say, there's like this top 4, right? Like there's these top 3, top 4, whatever. Like they're up here, and then you get the rest of everyone on Xbox, and they're way down here as far as skill goes. Like that's something that I've just seen. Like,
just a larger differential.
Yeah,
between
way
teams.
larger. And yes, my dad's leaving. Right in the middle of the topic, guys. Good time.
But yeah, I do agree that there is a certain skill base, and I wonder if that just has to do with that Xbox can be a little more accessible. You know, you pick up the controller, you can play with your friends, you know, and so I mean, I think it just depends on the interest, and I can just see how some people would want to kind of just casually play the Dream, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess you could say that about PC as well. I don't know. It's interesting because there definitely is a certain skill level where it's like really good Xbox players and then not so good Xbox players.
Yeah.
And I think that there is a certain drive, though. I will say that there is a big skill gap, but I want to say that the teams that are falling up right now, like in the 100K tournament, they do have the ability to really get there. And they just got to push themselves and stay determined.
Like I think even, I mean, Tana can talk about this because you play in the PC scene right now. Like I think you can agree that there's a lot of competition in the PC scene.
Yeah.
Like there's tons of teams that are all more than capable of taking games off one another right now.
Oh, yeah. As it stands right now, me just being the either confident or really dumb player that I am, I feel like we could probably take games off even top teams. Even though we're newer, I feel like we might not win the series, but I feel we can take a game off them with both sides.
I think you guys could.
And I think that goes for a lot of teams. I mean, you have the two dominant teams, obviously, like Hard on You and Eyes on You, sitting pretty at the top, too. And then everyone else is bunched together.
Yeah.
And everyone's fighting for that, basically 3rd, 4th, and 5th to be crowned as top 5.
Yeah.
And yeah, everyone has I go by everyone has a chance at anything. So
Yeah.
I believe anybody can beat any team at any time. It's circumstantial. It depends how bad you want it.
Well,
Depends on who
that
shows up.
that I'm gonna disagree with, because there's definitely skill involved, and I would have to say that any team can't beat anybody at any time. You do have to have
Well,
some sort of skill and coordination to be able to pull it off.
I think
I
what
don't
he
know.
meant
I think
was-
4 sabers could take an insane monster.
Oh, God. Yeah, there was this version of the insane monster, definitely.
Uh,
But yeah, like right now, like just looking at the whole, from what I've seen in Xbox, what I see on PC and what I hear, and like even what I knew, like when I played in it, like the PC scene was way more close knit. Like they talked with one another a lot. Like everyone, just because of like something like Steam, like you can get a hold of people like that instantly. You have no issues, no trouble, no nothing. And from our streams and all that, from just how connected the whole scene is, right? Like, coming somewhere like here, right? The Stage 3, the weekly, now the weekly things that you're doing, Dan. And even back when I used to stream all the time on Evolve, like, everyone would get information from everyone, right? And it would make the scene grow. Like, obviously there were still some secrets because you want to have some sort of advantage. But, like, that's what I see on PC, and then, like, playing on Xbox, like, the messaging and all that is just like, where is my keyboard? Like, I wish I could type, because you have to, you have to use the controller to type in words.
Oh yeah, that's gotta
And-
be hard.
And what's
They make a little attachment though. It
Yeah.
goes like
ain't
inside
buying
the
that.
middle of the controller or
I ain't
something.
buying that.
I've seen it.
Yeah, no, I've seen it, but like the whole thing is like everyone, I don't know, everyone feels more together on PC. Where on Xbox, like we pretty much have played, we play Evolve Hype, and then we've played. We've played a couple other monsters here and there, but really we've just played Evolve Hype. We haven't really. I mean, obviously in the tournaments we play the other teams, and that's kind of where I get that opinion that a lot of the Xbox teams, like the skill gap is just huge, because the games against the teams before Mammoth Bird compared to Mammoth Bird, was just their monster play was totally different level, and even Vanquish in the finals. Like the Vanquish monster took a game off us. So,
Yeah.
We only lost one game that whole tournament as Hunters, and it wasn't even close games, even when we had our games. Like, I couldn't say that would happen on PC, just because of a lot of the monster players, and it just comes down to like a lot of little things, right? Like a lot of the monsters on PC like have a total understanding of the game, and it seems like a lot of the monster players on Xbox like might not have the experience, because like I guess that's another thing that factors in is a lot of the PC teams have been at this for a while. Like almost all the players like have been playing in the scene since beginning. Even from the beta. Like Hard on You played in the first DGL tournament during the beta. We played them in the final or semifinals, Dan. So, they were ready aim splat at the time, but those players have
remember
been
those
around
days.
for a long time.
When all you guys died and I had to win the final game. I remember that.
Whatever.
You knew that was coming.
Yeah, I knew it was, but I think that's the, just the ease of Steam, and like just having the ability to communicate with everyone. Like,
Yeah.
And we've been around for so long, everyone in the scene. I think that plays a role in it, and the fact that when I found out that the majority of the Xbox scene talks through a Facebook group, I was a little just like, what?
Yeah,
Oh.
that is a little bit of an issue.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that until you mentioned it earlier today. But I really
Evolve
feel for
Xbox
Xbox
community.
players now. Like, there
Yeah.
needs to be a better way for you guys to communicate. If that's the best way, then we got to figure something out. Like, all of us together
Well, I
have to
mean-
figure something out to
Yeah.
help the Xbox community have a better way to communicate.
Well, I think that, along with the Xbox community, they're playing on Xbox because they like playing console, but also some of them aren't going to have PC, so they're not able to go on Reddit or, be involved
Right.
in the community and have that easy accessibility. I think Xbox has a browser now, doesn't it? Something like that? I don't know.
They have like the Twitch app and like maybe a Twitter app. I don't even bother. I just play Evolve
Yeah.
on Xbox.
I feel like Reddit's so popular that you should be able to see it anywhere. But
Yeah.
and so it's a little bit more difficult for them to get the information and
Mhm.
be up to speed with the PC scene. But at the same time, they're kind of it's interesting because I feel like they're developing their own meta because they're so disconnected. And so when our PC team went to Xbox, it was I don't know, it was refreshing because at that point I had just finished up EHL, and you know, I was like, okay, well, like hopefully there's going to be like a good PC tournament. So to just get that fresh breath of like it's a totally different meta, you know, there's something of interest, you know, and it was fun to observe those games and just manage and help coach the team, and so it was fun. I actually like the Xbox scene, and to be able to kind of like hop back and forth is actually really cool. Pretty refreshing. I'm not saying like go out and buy 2 copies of Evolve, but
yeah, they could get a little pricey.
But I don't know. I think if viewers realize that it's not a totally different game, but it's definitely different. That it kind of adds. It's almost like I'm trying to think of a good example. I want to say, and people might construe it, but it's like college football versus like pro football in the sense of that like the dynamics of the game are different. There's more passing in one league versus the other. It's the same game, but it's played differently, and so it was interesting just to see it that way. So yeah.
Right. So you're not saying one is more pro than the other. Just describing the differences in play.
Exactly.
Obviously.
So I mean, we're talking about nerds here, so they're probably not going to know all that sports stuff. Oh, shout out to the community. But yes, it has nothing to do with that. There's a different skill gap or anything like that. You know, obviously, our teams are competing against other teams on Xbox and on PC, so there is definitely a respective, pro side to both platforms.
So, and I saw that question, and we didn't really talk about this beforehand, but there's someone talking about like the PS4 scene. Like, why don't we talk about that? Like, to be honest, it's just because we don't know anything about it. Like, I actually saw that there was a PS4 tournament this weekend. I'm really glad the PS4 scene is like doing their own thing because, unfortunately, ESL like they haven't had a chance. But I mean, it kind of plays in like the whole PC versus Xbox thing we're talking about right now. Like, we just don't know anything about it, so that's something.
And some of that, it might take time to develop.
Yeah.
I mean, the game is still pretty young, and if the companies involved see a demand for a PS4 tournament, I'm sure that they'll have competitive on the PS4 as well if there's enough of a demand, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. That's really what it comes down to.
Their own thing is going to show that there is a demand.
Exactly.
So I think they'll get their time in the sun. I think they will. So at least I'm hopeful. I want Evolve to be successful on all platforms, man.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Definitely.
Jeez, I guess that's another venture Evolve hype has to jump into. Is
oh god,
I guess we're gonna have to pick up a PS4 team. All right, let's do it.
Oh god. But yeah, I guess we'll lead into our next little bit of talking about the monthly final for PC and Xbox. That's one thing we want to talk about, both scenes now.
Mm-hmm. That is the ESL monthly finals,
right,
the Go for Evolve monthlies, coming up. I think Xbox is tomorrow, right? And then PC is next week. It was pushed back a week. I do know that.
Yeah, let me look right now for the teams on both platforms. I think.
Yeah, it was pushed back.
Got the team names in the monthly finals. There's a team on Xbox, and they're called the Vibrators.
Vibe Raiders, right?
The Vibe Raiders, like the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes. Yeah, I saw that. They went to the semifinals in the last Sunday Proving Grounds on Xbox, right?
I think they took third. They actually beat Evolve Hype.
Right. And I think they also took out KPB as well, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a pretty big statement.
Yeah.
You're talking about 2 established teams that have been around for a long time, and they get knocked down. And
doing well.
Yeah. It's good for them.
I guess we'll get the Xbox out of the way. Really, the only teams that I've played or know is Evolve Hype and the Vibrators, so I think like it's going to be a contest between them two. I don't really know the other team, so I can't really like comment on it. But I think I don't know. We can probably bug Make Me Quit or someone to stream those tomorrow. That way we can watch some of the games, or maybe I might try and at least broadcast some of the games. I don't know if I can do commentary or something. I just something for tomorrow. Because I think that's one thing that's kind of sucked about, like, just from hearing a lot of the Xbox scene is, like, you know, there's so much of a focus on PC just because, like, we have people like you, Dan, casting for us, and just, you know, all of us stream already, and people just watch, you know, go from stream to stream of all of our little community, and, you know, they really don't have much, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that, you know, especially for us when we went into the Xbox scene, we didn't have an idea of what to expect from anyone. Because it's a lot of the unknown, if you will. So I hope this weekend we actually get to see some of the stuff. But if I, you know, not playing favorites here, but if I have to say someone's going to win, I think Evolve Hype will.
You mean you hope Evolve Hype will?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope Evolve Hype will, especially with their new monster player that they've actually picked up. So I think they won't drop 3-2 anymore. Whenever they go to a tiebreaker. And
Rest in peace.
Yeah. No.
You know, and actually, since we brought this up, just for clarification, so when we're talking about Evolve Hype, we're talking about the Xbox team, and Evolve Hype PC's team is just Hype. So if we say Team Hype, that's PC, and then Evolve Hype is Xbox. Just so everybody knows, so then people don't misconstrue everything.
Confused.
So, all right, so you cut one word out for PC, so the full team name is Evolve Hype. You just call it Hype on PC. When you have a PS4 team, you're just going to call it Evolve?
I guess so. Yeah.
You better start thinking about it.
Hype has an exclamation point, so maybe I'll just make it Team exclamation point. There we go.
There you go. It just gets shorter and shorter each time.
Yeah.
If so, it's just a symbol, right? So it would be the team formerly known as Hype.
Team formerly known as.
We should get Prince to do our theme song.
Exactly.
And then I guess we can look at the PC scene now.
Yeah. So the PC scene, we have all recognizable names. Hype, Hard on You, Eyes on You, Epex Black, KPV, Salge, Team Sith, and Wolves. Basically, like, the 8 most recognized teams in the scene, you know, not counting DTR since they're not allowed to compete.
Yeah, this is... I mean, I don't know how Salge has been playing. I know they've been getting a lot better. Like, even before I went over to Xbox, like, they were, you know, doing pretty well on their Hunter side. And I hope Hard on You actually competes in this because it's pushed back another week. So I think Challenge will be back. And I don't know if Dat Nude is coming back to PC because I know he's playing on K9 Gaming on Xbox. So I don't know if he's... Yeah, so... Actually, yeah, I don't know. So, I guess Tonic, if you want to give your predictions for this tournament, who would you call out? Who do you think your top 3 would be?
Top 3.
Out of 8, you don't have that many choices.
Yeah.
Hard on You is 99% not playing. I just got a message from Challenge. So.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Well, that changes things.
Everything.
Is Hype playing? That's another question.
Yes, we will be.
Okay, you are playing in that one. Is Wolves playing?
Undetermined, I think.
Undetermined.
Eyes on You will be there.
This leaves it to 4 people. 5 people. All right. Well, if you're playing Eyes on You, Hype, and then probably Epex, that would be my top 3 picks there. Any one of them can take it. I'm not saying Eyes on You is going to win it. I'm not saying Hype's going to win it. I'm not saying Epex is going to win it. But I feel one of those 3 teams will take it.
Going for the easy picks, I see.
Well, I know. I do the stats. I know what everyone's doing.
Yeah, exactly. If you base it just off the stats, and I had to make betting odds, those 3 teams would be the most likely ones to win, I think, as well.
Hey, man.
Agreed.
You never know. Never know.
True.
Solid.
I mean, I do recall Tonic saying that anyone can beat anyone at any time. So.
Yeah. No, I think if I had to guess, I don't know how the brackets are going to look, so I don't remember the seeding.
Yeah, that also kind of puts into account, doesn't it?
Yeah, because Epex, Hype, and Eyes on You could all be on one side of the bracket, so we would like face in the quarter semis and not even make it to the finals. That'd be pretty fun.
Could happen.
Yeah, I'd have to look, but yeah, I think I don't know. I think Team Sith will actually have a pretty good showing this tournament because I think that's one team that's been around and people just kind of like always discount, like
Which
you know,
sucks.
And then they come out of
I don't think
nowhere.
that's fair. I don't
yeah,
even think it's like, to be honest, I feel like they kind of dropped off a little bit. And it was after War Spirit was actually, you know what? In between the DJL and the EHL, War Spirit was doing stuff, and it was whack because he was making some really good stuff, and he even got like prizes straight from Turok. I think it was like free DLCs and stuff for first place, and no one showed up. So I mean, I don't know what's up with that, but I this is entirely speculation, but I think he got a little discouraged and started focusing more on his team, and he kind of he still does stuff on YouTube, and it's all
yeah.
really good stuff.
I actually watch a couple of his YouTube videos every now and again.
But I just hope that War Spirit and his team doesn't get discouraged because I think that they do a lot of good stuff for the community, and
Yeah,
I just hope they do well.
yeah.
But
I think-
that's what I'm saying. Like you know, you were saying that people discount them, but then they somehow just come out of nowhere and
Yeah,
do really really well. They just surprise everybody and pull things together, and that's happened a few of the Sunday Cups that we've had so far.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they beat me before in tournaments too, so that's like
Yeah.
why I say that, you know. Like I think if they show up, they have more than a chance, right? You know, if they show up, I mean, Tonic, you guys say you play against Bugsy quite a bit, so
Yeah.
I mean, you could even say like how he's playing right now. Like if he's on his game, like Bugsy's a really good player.
He is a good player. We have a lot of issues beating him. And I want to point
Bugsy's
something
pretty
else
good.
about Sith real quick. I've played in 5 total cups. Sith has knocked me out every single time. Bugsy has
Wow.
knocked me out single-handedly every time. Every
Yep.
team I've played for.
Even on the teams that you sub for or whatever.
Yep. Every
Yeah.
sub I've done and knocked me out. I'm
Yeah.
gonna beat you one day, Bugsy.
One day.
It's your
Yeah, I mean-
goal.
I think
Bugsy!
the exciting thing about PC, though, you know, going into every ESL, and I haven't really said much about KPV because I haven't really got to play them or talk to them or anything, so I don't know a lot about them. You know, and I think every week, you know, you just don't know who's going to show up, and I think right now is probably a really exciting time to be in the PC scene playing. You know, I gotta admit I miss it. I really do. Like. Just that ESL Sunday, like going through, like watching the brackets, watching, you know, Black Aegis' thing, like from start to finish, like while we're going in between our games, and just always the excitement around that is something I really miss because you're kind of disconnected on the proving grounds. You're just kind of like, well, it's my team and myself, and we're just playing. But I don't know. I'm really excited for the monthly finals, and I hope that the PC and the Xbox sides both get casted. You know, sorry, Dan, but if Demon and Pansy are back, I hope they're doing it too. You know, I hope we have
Absolutely.
both sides casting because that, you know, it was really awesome just to see them cast, like,
yeah.
and
Yeah, it was
have a
great.
good time while doing it, and that's one thing that, you know, people just need to see, that you can really enjoy watching competitive Evolve, and you know, having multiple casters to watch it from and see the game from, and all these new perspectives is just really cool. So, but yeah, I mean, I think you know, obviously I want to win that one, but I think it's really anyone's cup at that point.
Yeah, it could go a number of ways, and I mean, there's going to be a lot of factors that play into that. You know, even changes in perks and things like that, like the DI change.
Yeah. That conveniently leads us into our next bit.
I
Oh,
knew
nice
it was
segue
gonna-
there.
Good segue. Good segue.
Oh,
Good segue, Dan. I'm proud of you.
Good segue, so we can talk a bunch of
you,
shit.
you can applaud me for that. No, I think the DI change is great.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Corey, you know, as a competitive player, both as a monster player and now as a hunter, let's talk about how drastically that affects things right now. And also why they did it, you know, bringing masteries into the game.
Well, I guess to explain a little bit behind the DI change is when you have masteries in old DI of 15%, you get like 25% on a couple of abilities, which is a pretty big deal. Like Rock would one-shot you when you had one strike, I believe. I might even, yeah, it was
Pretty
rough.
gnarly.
Yeah. So I think that was where they were looking at it. And another big thing, like a lot of people forget that, you know, just to totally go into why like DI change is huge, is like DI change, like nerfing by 5% takes away 5% of your auto attack damage, which is nuts. Like you wouldn't see it when you first look at it, but like playing on the DI change quite a bit and understanding like just there's so many times where it's like, man, I would have killed him if I had old DI, like just with the melee attack damage. Because melees is like, even MacMan has posted about it, where that's like your biggest form of damage as a monster. Your abilities are secondary, your melee attacks are the biggest, like overall damage. Because obviously you're just smashing melee constantly, so you don't have to wait for a cooldown on it. And really, that's kind of changed the way a lot of the game has been played. Like, specifically on Xbox, I can say that a lot of monsters don't even take DI anymore. Their meta for the monsters is kind of changing into more of a runner style, or just kind of looking for pickoffs and totally avoiding the fight and just getting to stage 3 as fast as possible and like going all in with full health. Like that's one thing that we've seen a lot of just from Vanquish and Mammoth Bird is one thing they were doing. And a couple other monsters that came close, like they were running DI and like they did give us a little bit of a run for our money. Like this is more scrim side. So I think both are valid ways to play the game. It's just I think right now with that DI change and masteries being on, you have a lot more of choice of how you want to play your monster. Like you can either do the runner style and still be successful. You can do the combat style and still be successful. It's just both have these little ins and outs that you have to understand and play it right. I think that's one thing I like about the DI change. Obviously, when I was a monster player, like I was really sad to hear that DI would be nerfed because I loved it so much. But I think right now, like it was a good thing for the game, and it's interesting seeing how the meta is going to change, like going forward. Because obviously, we're still in the first couple weeks. Someone might figure out something that's just totally off the walls, broken, that we don't know yet, right? And that's always the exciting thing about Evolve.
Well, that's what we're trying to find all the time in practice, right?
Yeah, I know.
Find the next broken thing so we can beat out some other team.
That's the way it is in any competitive game, right? You want to find whatever thing you can use to exploit as an advantage over your opponents that isn't, I guess, directly an exploit, right?
Yeah, and I think that, just kind of getting off a little bit off track, but, talking about being open to change and how the community does these little gentleman things and wanting to switch comps, is that we don't want the community to get stagnant in a specific meta, because then it gets boring for everyone. Especially, I can honestly say with viewers, it gets so boring to watch the same thing played over and over and over and over and over. And
the old DI meta.
Yeah, and this is, I feel like like Corey, you can pick up this one since this is really more of a pet peeve of yours, but I entirely agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably my last bit I'll say on this, and I'll let Tonic and Aegis talk a little bit. But I think hanging on to the old DI meta, as I'll call it, like where this is like, I guess this is a landmark, right? Where it's like this is Evolve before the DI change and this is Evolve after it, kind of thing. We're at this point now where so much is on the table as a hunter and monster player that you just have to look at the game in a new light and stop thinking in the old ways and start thinking in the new ways, right? And start changing the way you play the game, just because, like, that DI change, like 5% doesn't sound like a lot, but you can survive so much longer now as a monster or as a hunter player, like in my opinion at least. And as a monster player, you have to be precise. Like you cannot miss an ability or it's gonna hurt you pretty bad. And I think that's the whole thing. Like just like in this new phase of the game we're in, like I think people just need to open up their mind and think about, especially with T4 being there as well. Like the monsters got nerfed, and then you got these 4 new powerful characters that got introduced. Like it's time to evolve, if you will.
Oh,
I had to do it.
Oh man! So even I couldn't make one that bad.
Yeah, but this, I don't know. That's my thoughts, and Saber and I always go back and forth because him and I are kind of, I'll bounce ideas off him, and even you were there, Dan, when I was like, man, like, got to figure out something for next week. Got to figure out something, and bouncing ideas back and forth, and just thinking. So, it'll be. I think this next tournament will be pretty fun to see.
You made my heart leap a little bit because I thought you were going to give it away. I was like, oh
no.
shit.
Oh,
so just so you know, enemies of hype. We have
beware. But yeah, Tonic. Like you were pretty much a 100 player 100% of the time, if I'm not mistaken. So
if I have the choice, I'm picking Medic Kyra every time.
Yeah, there you go. So I'm
Um,
curious, like, what
the D-
what do
the
you think about
DI
all of it?
the DI change really. There is definitely more survivability, and that also falls in hand with medics using capacity right now.
Ugh.
So there's more healing grenades. So there's more, I guess, single target healing coming from Kyra to keep somebody up.
Mhm.
And that helps if they're being focused by melee attacks, because you don't have to shoot for and then wait for the reload and while they're getting hit on. But there is definitely more survivability from a monster standpoint. I can't really say anything because I don't play monster that much. If I play monster, it's just to have fun and mess around. I'm not trying my absolute hardest. It's just to have fun when I play
Yeah.
monster. But yes, there is definitely more survivability, and I agree. 5% doesn't sound like a lot,
Mhm.
but it adds up. That's just
Yeah.
that's
Big
one
picture.
hit. That's one hit. 5% gone. Two. There's 10% that you would have had gone. It just adds up.
Yeah.
So
That's a good point. That's a good point right
Yeah.
there.
Oh, it's absolutely true.
so yeah, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it adds up throughout the game, and but yeah, survivability is key now.
Survivability is up.
Yeah,
Opinion is up. Everything's good.
everything's all good. I can live longer now.
Yeah, as a medic player, I think you're pretty happy about the whole living longer thing. Oh
Yeah.
man.
Well,
But
I think it's more than just that, right? You know, sure it allows the hunters to live a little bit longer, which is necessary when you add the masteries in because of the one shot that can happen from certain attacks from the monster. But by doing that, it allows you to add masteries into the game, and it allows the hunters to excel in the one or two stages where they're supposed to, right? Stages one, they're supposed to be a little bit better than the monster. Stage two, it's supposed to be about even. And the hunters have to get in enough damage in those two phases to have a realistic shot at beating a monster stage three.
yeah. No, I agree. So I mean that's kinda like this change just allows for more pressure to be put on the monster. Because
Right.
I mean, yeah, there's still some stage one losses with like Kraken and stuff like that, but I mean, really, like with this new DI change and just with masteries, like I mean, how I feel, like, and again, this is Tonic will be able to talk a lot about this too, because he's a hunter player. Is like as a hunter team, I feel like we're able to punish the monster way more than before with masteries on, and that feels good, right? Because when you get in those like stage one domes where there might be a loop or something like that, you probably wouldn't even get into health. But now, like especially with Hyde, where he gets 10% more damage on toxic grenades, and the more range and accuracy, or range on his flamethrower and accuracy on his minigun, like your DPS will go up just because you're going to land more of it, right? It's going to be more consistent because of the mastery changes.
Yeah.
And you know, medics don't get too much help with mastery. It's more like the assaults, the trappers, and supports.
Yeah, it's just radius on the healing grenades,
Yeah.
I believe. So, which
Which is
actually
pretty huge,
helps.
though.
That helps
Yeah.
a lot.
Pretty
Yeah, I guess you're
huge.
kind of right.
Yeah, it helps a lot.
Because
No.
I mean, that was one of the complaints of Team Hype losing in the first $100,000 one was that like Polis couldn't heal you guys properly and stuff like that. So yeah, no, that's
Because of
pretty
the
huge.
perks we didn't. Well, we didn't. That wasn't like character masteries. We had all the masteries, but like the not having character perks max level, like you totally know.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
you're
that's a
screwed.
big deal.
Yeah.
We didn't have time to do it.
Which,
So.
I actually like that they added what they did, but at the same time, like if you're new to Evolve and you're like, dude, a tournament totally awesome, it's still not an even base. You know, you're like kind of screwed out of the tournament unless you want to grind it out.
Yeah, but I think that's okay. Like, I think our case was kind of just a little bit unfortunate because of how short notice it all was. But you know, that's neither here nor there. But I guess getting back on like the mastery thing, you know, Tonic, how do you feel? Like, how does your hunter team feel with everything?
I think we've pretty much adapted into the mastery system now. We feel confident with it. We're still learning different different team comps or hunter comps with the tier 4 and seeing what works and what not work and what doesn't work. Sorry, what not works. Yeah, but
Slim,
yeah, no,
slim,
actually,
slim.
Yeah.
I will never play Slim and competitive. You will never see it. I am a one medic person right now, and that is Kyra. Until
It could happen one day.
it could, I could pull out. See, that's where I fool people. I say I'm only Kyra, and then boom, Val comes in. But we've actually been toying around with different assaults. Like, for instance, our assault player loves Hyde. He loves playing the Hyde character, but like I mentioned before, we play against Bugsy. He's a Kraken player. So how do we fit that in? Well, you bring in the tier 4 support, and it somewhat works a little better. Plus the change on the Toxic Grenade, where it doesn't slow the hunters down, that's a huge change. We can now keep up with them. If there's a loop, then we can run straight through the grenade, and there's no issue there. So there definitely is a lot more damage going in on those stage 1 domes. And, it's all probably because of masteries, so it is a big change. Even the healing grenade, you kind of threw it off like medic doesn't get affected. It's a difference by positioning now, because the medic doesn't have to always sit up high. It is more relevant for them too, but now you can start hitting grenades on the side of elevation points, like on Distillery in the where near the beach. Monsters like to hide behind that one elevation spot. They can now, my hunter team can now sit up there, and if they're they don't have to be standing on the ledge for me to heal them. They can be a little closer in, get more damage done. So
it's the little things that are making it a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just smaller things make it such a big deal now.
Yeah, they absolutely do. And that's one of the great things about bringing Tier 4 into the comp. It changes so many things up, and it makes the small things that you're talking about actually into big deals. I mean, even pick order is changed up drastically now,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a lot more options.
Also, adding on to the masteries, obviously, that actually makes people, in a way, play other classes, because if for some reason they have to play another class, if they don't have it deleted, they don't get the full benefit.
Yeah.
So now they're playing other classes to get that done, which
helps the full understanding of Evolve.
Yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense. No, that's actually
do that. So
no, that's actually really good, because something that I tell our teams is like, play other roles, play the monsters, so that you have a better understanding of your teammates and what you're playing against. And I would give that advice to any team is that you want to learn, know your enemy, but you should also know your pals. And so that's actually, I wonder if that was a thought of theirs just with designing that. Like, okay, if we have it, so if they want to win, they got to keep playing. Not really grind it out, but like play. That's really cool. So I'm glad they did that for that reason then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and just kind of leading into the next bit, this kind of more focused on the monster side of things, and even with the mastery stuff going on, and just kind of like seeing from the past tournaments, like, monsters are having a lot harder time, it seems, even though, like, when I first heard that masters were getting turned on as a monster player, I was like, oh no, impossible, don't do it. Monsters will win every game. Bad idea. And when
I even agreed with that idea, but it's not true.
I agreed with it too. With discussion in my team, we're like, oh no.
Yeah,
and it just turned out to not be true. Players adapted.
Yeah,
it was totally wrong. And when I first started playing on, I was like, man, I'm doing so much more damage. Like, this was on old DI, so 25% on every ability is when we tested it, not on this new 10%. So, like, when I was playing on it and having the masters on, I was like, oh, no way, we can't do this. And at that time, like, I pretty much played Kraken exclusively, right? And then this DI change happened, and then the first day was still kind of like people adjusting to it, like when I was doing in-house scrims, and then I don't know, as it went along, like, I almost felt like now it feels like I'd say the hunters have a little bit of favor, and in like the Kraken matchup, it feels like, because the whole scene, especially on Xbox, feels like Kraken is not viable. But on PC, like he's still obviously good. But on Xbox, like I think it just comes down to the control input that you have, like compared to like
Tracking the lightning strike, you mean?
Yeah.
It's harder to move it quickly?
Yeah, it's just tracking Vortex and even aiming Banshee Mines. Like, Aftershock is pretty easy to land on controller, but
What do you
like,
play your sensitivity at?
I was
like
just gonna
8?
say,
8
maybe
out of 10?
it's not that it's harder. Maybe it takes more skill.
Oh, shut up.
Saber has a point. I mean, you've only played on Xbox for a week, and
Yeah.
maybe.
So, and that's something you put into account though too is that the amount of what's going on into the meta of how Kraken was really dominating the scene in PC and still is to a certain extent. But I mean, there's definitely a lot more Goliaths. But even before that, there is still your primary Goliath players like Legendary and what's his name?
Cursola.
Yes, thank you.
Drawing a blank there.
Yeah, I don't always think of girth. But yeah, I lost my track of thought because of the girth. With Goliath and Kraken, you're seeing this adjustment, and it's really determining on how people perceive, is learning how to play a really, really good Kraken worth it, or is there another way out? And at this point, I think that people are starting to evolve past just thinking Kraken's OP. Oh. And
That pun, man. That pun.
okay, so the backstory on that, since we're going to go there, is
that word just
anytime,
gets too much.
anytime I go like, oh my god, that play was so insane, he has to laugh. Or if I say like, oh, the scene's evolving, he has to laugh, and he won't let me go. Anywho, people are starting to move past Kraken, and it's interesting to see that, and I think it's a good thing. And so balancing is important with Turok Studios and moving forward with that, and adjusting the game, and players willing to find that new comp. But as well is that players need to realize they have the responsibility to figure out what the next thing is going to be. And I think that there is some like, this is broken, oh, that is broken, like blah, blah, blah. It's like, then every game's broken.
Brakes. Yeah, pump the brakes.
Yeah. Seriously. Yeah.
We don't want any knee-jerk kind of stuff to happen in the scene. And if you let right now, like everyone, like, I don't know, Tana can also speak on this, is that, I feel pretty confident whenever someone picks Kraken. Like, I feel like right now, I got everything I need to know about a Kraken. Like, I know when Lightning's going to be up. I know when Vortex is going to be up. I'm just so used to it, right? You get that feeling. You just have these feelings when you're playing against them, and you understand like what they're going to do. But like Goliath is kind of a little bit more unpredictable. I think that's what makes him interesting, because I mean, right now, like that pretty much everyone is going 3 Vortex, 3 Aftershock, because that's what Cyril did, and everyone's like, oh, that's the greatest build right now. So you expect that, and you can play around that cooldown, and it's pretty simple. But Goliath, like, you can do 3 Leap, 3 Flame, 3 Rock, 1 Charge, 2 Flame. Like, there's so many different Goliath builds that, you can get, caught off guard by something, especially at level 2. So, that's kind of how I feel. I mean, with this whole meta right now and where it's going, and, I don't know if, like, I don't know how I feel about, like, the monsters, if they need nerfs, or if, we just need to wait a little bit. Like, I think I like playing with the hunters a little bit more than nerfing more of the monsters, because I feel like they're in a good spot for the most part. It's just, it's so hard to, like, have that yes or no kind of thing when looking at the way the monster meta's changing. So, I don't know. It's kind of a weird, it's a hard one to have, like, a definitive answer for it. Like, this is what we need.
The easy way of explaining it is it's growing pains.
Yeah.
It's like it's there. There's movement, but it's just like a centered area of location of what's going on. And I mean, at the same
it's just
time,
going to take
kind of
time, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But that's the thing, though, is like, I don't really want to get into this, but I mean, like, you're talking about the impatience of a gamer willing to, like, well, how long will it
Yeah.
take me to do X, Y, Z and gratification and crap like that?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we're gamers. We don't like to wait. We don't have
Yeah,
patience.
we're impatient.
No.
We have the patience of a 2-year-old, right?
filthy
I think we all
casuals.
feel like that.
Yeah. So, what do you feel
Yeah.
about it, Altonic? Like
I
just
mean,
cracking and the monsters in general.
As far as cracking goes, you're absolutely right. You're gonna see pretty much the same build come out. So obviously you're gonna see 3 Vortex. I'd be interested to see if anybody still tries to take like 2 Banshee, 1 Vortex.
Mhm.
That would be the only other startup they would have, but it would still all leads to the same thing. Well, what are they gonna when they hit stage 3? Is it lightning or is it aftershock?
Yeah.
And you know within probably 2 minutes what they're doing, and then you adjust for that. Whereas, like you said with Goliath, he can go a number of things. It's just he could hold on to something just with his 2 abilities. Say he has 2 flame, 1 leap. Well, he can hold his stage 2 ability, which is whether if he holds on to it long enough, you're going to think, oh, well, he went 3 flame, 3 leap for some reason. And then out of nowhere, you get a surprise 3 rock. And that could completely catch somebody off guard,
Yeah.
which comes into that patience as well. If a monster is patient, he can throw somebody off really well.
Oh yeah.
But as far as balancing them, I don't really see many issues. I mean, they've pretty much nerfed his lightning down to hardly any speed. Like it's just one flat
it's not lightning,
speed
it's
now.
electricity.
Yeah, lightning got a little bit easier to dodge. Aftershock, I have issues with getting out of them, but that's all on me. That doesn't mean it's unbalanced or it's too broken or OP.
And that's a good
like
thing
that.
to have in the game, right? Like, that's a good thing. Like that it's on the hunter, not on the
Yeah.
monster piss.
Yeah, that's exactly what
Yeah.
you want, right? You want that play and counterplay, that skill on the part of both
Like,
sides.
whoa, I have a problem with losing? Oh no!
Yeah, no, I know
know?
exactly. Like after each game, for my practices, we have Shan. Shan can't play Sundays, so during our practices, he's basically our coach. And as far as what I'm doing, I'm paying attention because mainly they're all focusing on the fight, and I'm focusing on healing. But I can see pretty much everything they're doing. Basically, I'm writing in Steam as I see stuff happen or when I get a free chance to, maybe in between games, of what we're doing wrong. So as a team, we don't consider anything to be too strong or broken. We just learn to get used to it.
Yeah.
We adapt around it and say, okay, well, we need to do this and try to fight against it, not go to Reddit or anything and say, oh, this is too strong. We just adapt around it until it gets changed, or if it doesn't get changed, well, fine, we've adapted already.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I see that.
But
But,
that's pretty much how that goes for us.
Hey, I mean, I think a lot of people share that same sentiment, that you have, that same thought process. This is how the game is. We're going to figure out our way around it and find the best way to play.
Because
That's just what you need.
I mean, if you're going to complain about it and not practice around it, you're not gaining anything. You're not learning about it, and
Right.
you still have to wait till the next patch to come out. So what are you going to do? Stop playing? No, you're a competitive. You're a competitive player. You're going to play around it anyway. So it just all falls on learning around it.
Yeah, and I guess one question I had before we go into our Q&A, and this is another tonic question. How does it feel like, unfortunately, with this last patch, I mean, everyone knows, and like I've seen that reload got bugged.
Yeah.
As a medic player, like how did that change like your just overall thought process to the game and like what you were going to think about? Like, how were you going to change your play? Because like reload was a big perk for medics.
That's a big deal. That is a
big perk.
huge change.
Yeah.
Big for a lot of
it's
players.
to be
Trappers too, huge for
Yeah,
trappers.
And supports.
Supports,
Big
yeah.
supports, especially
Yep.
So everybody got
Yeah.
it.
So everyone.
Pretty much everybody, except the assaults that run like jetpack to stick. But we were talking about this part earlier about the Val changes when they came out, Well, people still see her as unreliable in some sense, but we talked about that and said, well, no one knows her potential yet. No one
Yeah.
has the reload, so nobody really knows how good her self-healing with the heal burst is going to be. And it could make or break whether people play it or not or don't play it.
Yeah.
We're going into, like, each day that goes by that reload is bugged is another day that, you're not going to
Teams
see
can't
another
test.
team comp. Yeah.
Yeah.
They can't test around. They can't try different medics. And
Yeah.
you're just going to see a flat, pretty much
Kyra.
98% Kyra.
Yeah.
And even it affects Kyra with reload.
Yeah.
I mean, she does have a backup, it's a change, but I don't think it hinders her play too much.
Yeah.
It's more single target now instead of group. And that also goes on self-healing. Her self-healing is a little less because the heal burst gives more health back quickly, I want to say. So if you're getting focused, the heal burst is helpful. But if you're just taking ability, with running capacity, I believe it's pretty much fine. But so there are changes with Kyra, but I feel they were more easier to change because I feel easy. I want to say easy because for me, when I started playing the game, I ran capacity anyways. So it was just going back to what I started with.
Yeah.
And I even before reload was bugged, I would play around with capacity even in practices. So it never really officially left my pick of a perk. If I felt I needed to take capacity, I would take it over reload even before the bugging. But
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And it, as our Hunter team, we had a lot of comps built around reload. And then having that taken away, it's interesting to see how it changed the way we had to play the game. There's times in practice where I'm like, okay, pull his speed. He's like, 10 more seconds. I'm like, oh, you're so used to something, and then when it gets changed, you get thrown for a loop, man.
You've played with it so much with the reload
Yeah.
on that it's become muscle memory essentially.
Yeah.
It's just part of the gameplay.
So, I think going forward, I hope we don't run into a situation like this again with perks, especially during big tournament stuff like that.
Right.
And I don't think we will.
Well, I mean, from a programming standpoint, what I'm assuming happened could potentially happen very easily. If you just happen to miss a single positive or negative.
Yeah.
From my perspective, at least, it seems like that's all it is. And it could have been in a couple places at once, or something like that. But it's something that can happen, something to be aware of, something that has to be looked for in QA. I think going forward, the main issue is making sure that if something like that happens, it can be patched out right away. You look at any other competitive game, League of Legends, Dota, CS:GO. I can't speak for a console competitive game like Halo, but I think that even on Halo, if there were a serious bug, that they would be able to put it through quicker. I think, and someone with more experience in the Halo competitive scene could probably verify or
guidance
or disprove that. But for some reason, I just feel like that would probably be the case. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think, the direction I see from Total Rock is they want this game to go competitive, and they're focusing a lot more on the competitive balance in the competitive scene.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think stuff like this we won't see happening, and they're going to be a lot more wary that, how is this going to affect the game and make sure everything is, as perfect as can be before going into it. But yeah, that was one thing that we saw with the meta, changing what your medic takes is a big deal, and just having to rethink the game for a little bit and step back again. It was kind of fun actually, looking back on it. But I'm gonna be really happy when we get reload back.
yes, I agree.
Yeah. So. But yeah, I mean, I think that's all we have to say about that. But I think, Dan, we get to do my favorite part of the stream.
Favorite part? Q&A, questions and answers from the chat.
Q&A. So.
All right. Well, if it's your favorite part, we will start with Tonic. Tonic, why don't you pick a question from chat? And actually, I do want to actually pull out one question so that nobody selects it, and it's actually the first question that we got from Tattletale. The reason why I want nobody to select it.
Okay,
Tattletale says, what do you think the best move and direction for Evolve should be next to improve the state of the game, competitive and casual? We're not going to answer that today because that's actually going to be an entire podcast topic. But great question, Tattletale. Once again, pulling out some of the best questions that we've had in chat in the Stage 3 podcast so far. And we're actually going to devote an entire podcast to that one.
Yeah, that's actually the name on our document for next week.
Yep, for 2 weeks from now.
Oh yeah, 2 weeks.
Not next week. Yeah, 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, Tonic, why don't you go ahead and pick a question? We'll go Tonic, Saber, myself, and then who cares about Dan? And then we'll just keep going. We'll see how many questions we get and how far we go.
All right. Well, this one, I'm gonna choose this one just because it has my shiny name next to it, and then it also refers around Kyra. So it says, how do you guys feel about Kyra as a monster player? Or as a monster player, I feel she could use a few tweaks, but not that much in order to give other medics some viability. As far as tweaking Kyra, I'm so biased about it. Like, I love where Kyra is. I think she's fine where she is. But again, we were talking about the reload. Val could be more viable in her team, not more valuable than Kyra, obviously, but she could be played more just because of one bug in the game.
Yeah.
So, but answering your question about the tweaking of Kyra, I don't think she needs to be tweaked. I think she's probably one of the most balanced hunters out as far as healing. It's not like if you switch to fire grenades, you're doing an. I want to avert away from the word I was going to say. A lot of damage.
A lot of damage, really.
Yeah.
A lot of, you're not doing a lot of damage, so
No,
she's not broken in the damage sense, and I don't feel her healing is out healing the damage of any monster right now. She's perfect where she is, I feel. And
Would you say she's the flower? I guess to add in something before we go to the next question is that Kyra is the definition of what a medic should be in Evolve, and it's just to bring all the other medics to her level, is what we feel. You know, she's viable because she can sustain herself, and every medic should have that power, right? Because that is fun to play against, and it's fun to play with. So I think that's something we can all agree on. Mr. Saber, what question do you have in here, or is there none?
There's one that I'm looking at specifically, and it's
oh god, no,
it's by our teammate. Yeah, it is.
I see it.
Yeah. Who do you think has the best hair
this?
of you four?
You could take me out of that list. I need a haircut.
Well, I mean, I wake up in the morning and I look like this, so you know, and Dan.
This is feathered and bodied. All right, moving on.
I don't even know what that means, dude.
No.
Yeah, you just went over my head.
Wabaki asks, Saber, do you know your name is an anagram for bras? Now I do. Thank you.
Interesting. Of course, Wabaki coming out with the troll comments.
Good old Wabaki.
All right.
I'll
Corey, what's a serious question?
Let's see. I probably should have been looking a little bit more. Oh God. Just Dan, you do your question. I'm going between these two, and I don't know. I'm going back and forth. You do a question, Dan.
Okay. Let's see.
Here's one I saw that was good.
You guys had actually taken one of mine.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Saw that one, and then Tonic took it. I was like, oh, I hate
It says Tonic, but everybody, so I just fuck it.
Okay, so right here, no name, and we can't announce the name in chat either. What can be done to improve the tiebreaker round in competitive play?
You're opening up a can of worms with that one.
Yeah, that's a can.
Perhaps, actually, maybe that one should be part of next week's.
Yeah, that's next
You're
week.
just hanging all our viewers.
Yeah. I mean, I'm making Saber double face palm here with how deep that question is, right?
Well, let's put it this way. I think we all have strong, not ideas, but maybe concepts of how that can help, and hopefully we can get around to that eventually.
And
so.
of course, what do you think needs to happen to allow elite buffs in competitive play? That one too. Yeah, we'll save that for next week.
Next week. That's man. Why are all these questions going to be in the next show?
Yeah. They're all so focused on the topic for next week rather than anything pertaining to today's topic or general Evolve questions.
Here's my question that I found. So what are the top teams in Xbox competitive right now? What teams do you think will make it to the regionals? I honestly think the top four. I would say that the top four right now are gonna make the top four to the regionals. I don't know too much about the Europe scene. I know there's kind of been a lacking of teams on that end, unfortunately. But I don't know. Like, I think the top four teams are going to stay where they are. I think the Vibrators is probably the only team, and maybe KPB. I don't know who their monster is right now or who's going on that. But I think the Vibrators have a pretty good chance of breaking in. But I think with the change of Evolve Hype Xbox getting the elusive one as their new monster player, I think they're going to have a much better chance going into next week because that was kind of their weak point, unfortunately.
They're definitely going to put up a much stronger fight, so get ready to see that.
Yeah.
Since the reductions to perks, what do you think? Traversal or movement speed better for monsters? And that's from Newt X. That's actually a great question.
Movement speed or traversal? I mean, traversal you can dome dodge probably better.
Yeah.
Just keep running.
Yeah. But movement speed affects you overall, right? Whether you're in combat, out of combat.
I mean, the combat,
however many
you're
traversals
get
you
by
have.
A good hunter team as well. So, I mean, I'm kind of talking out of my ass against Insane, but I would probably say speed actually, just with being able to move around and track down these hunters that like to roach around in the dome.
Yeah, I think I like movement speed more, but it depends. Like if I was Wraith, I like traversal a lot. If it was
Very true.
Kraken, I like more traversal. I like both, right? Like it's just more of the preference of the monster player. Like in the map as well can play a factor. Like if you're playing on a map that has a lot of verticality and not so much flat ground, like that's when I would say, okay, take traversal. If you're on a flat map, then you would take movement speed, because you're running a lot more as far as like jumping and stuff like that.
Yep.
So
no, very good points.
All right, Tonic. Now you get to choose a question.
I'm looking over them. That is not a good one. I had one, but I've lost it.
Dan probably deleted it.
Maybe.
It may have been. I deleted all the troll ones.
Yeah, I don't think it was a troll one. It actually...
I just saw Pulse.
If Saber can go before me, that'd be great, so I can find this again.
Sure, I'm gonna put you in the hot seat. And,
well, yeah, you guys can just take them.
Saber's girlfriend asks, "Do you love the little bear, aka her little dog?"
Oh.
Yes, I love the little bear.
Oh God!
There you go.
I don't even see that one. That sounds like it's a hype joke here.
Yeah.
Little bear.
I got one.
Pythio says, "What are your thoughts on the merging of all of the platforms?"
That's the one I was looking for.
If he's referring to
Yeah.
tournaments, I would actually love to see more cross-platform tournaments.
Yeah.
If you're talking about, say, cross-platform play online, just on any general day of the week, that'll never happen.
Yeah, I would like.
Maybe when Windows 10 comes out, if the game happens to be available for Windows 10 and Xbox One, maybe that will happen. Well, that's one of the attractions of Windows 10, actually. Microsoft has said that there will be Xbox One to Windows 10 cross-platform play. Just enabled by default, I guess, or something. I'm not sure about all the details, and they may not have announced it fully. But yeah, I mean, maybe if Windows 10 were to come out and they work something out, maybe between those two, but not PS4 as well. It just won't happen. In tournaments, though, it would be cool to see everything played on PC, and console players can just plug in their PS4 or Xbox controller and play it just like they were playing it on a console.
Yeah, I think that could work, and I think that's one thing I would like Evolve to do, because like from what I've seen, like, you know, just playing on Xbox and PC, like, you know, the understanding of Evolve is there. It's just the difference of how you play it, right?
Right.
I mean, I'm gonna be real, like, Monster's gonna have an advantage on PC just because of the controls. Like, I feel like you have way more control over your monster on a keyboard than you do on a, you know, controller. So I think that might be a little weird, but other than that, I think Evolve runs into this nice area where it doesn't matter too much of how you play. Like, it's these little things that bug me, but again, for other players, they couldn't be a problem.
Right.
I have a good question that affects every tournament in Evolve right now. Is how do you guys feel about tournaments lasting up to 10 hours sometimes?
It can be rough.
I think I speak for every one of us that we love using up an entire day for Evolve as much as we love Evolve.
Yeah,
you know,
we
love it that much more, and it's an extremely not stressful thing to try and be able to play nonstop for 10 hours. And in the interim, you're waiting and trying to communicate, and you're stressing over the next team that you play for 10 hours. And we should keep doing it. Kappa. Kappa.
Yeah.
The delays and the waits are definitely too much.
Oh my god, it's so brutal.
I actually wouldn't mind a 10-hour-long tournament, you know, if there were 100+ teams signed up and it actually had to take, you know, I mean, that's 10 true. Hours. But yeah, when you have 20 teams signed up and it's 40 teams signed up and it's taking 12+ hours or whatever, 10+ hours.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's inexcusable. I'm pretty sure most other tournaments in any competitive game have a certain time limit where once the brackets are posted, you have to meet your opposing team within this amount of time or you automatically forfeit. Just make that happen, you know? It's that simple.
Yeah, I just wish that we would be quicker about everything. Like, you know, you get into your game, you get done, you move on.
Right.
You know?
Right,
like,
and forcing players with the threat of elimination by default, I think would speed things up.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not going to make players say, "Oh, we've been playing too long. We need to take a lunch break." No, you don't. You're in a competition. You don't eat. You win.
Get out of here! I mean, it just kind of sucks that they're, you know, like, there should be like a match time that it needs to start by, right? And if you have 15 minutes before that match, like, yeah, that's when you go eat. Like, because I mean, we've even asked for that. Like, you gotta eat and be able to like drink water, bathroom, stuff like that. It takes time, but it's just
that's that 15 minutes in between break, though. Yeah. That's what it's there for. Yeah. It's not for you to take 45 minutes to calm your nerves because the last game got you all riled up and you can't hold your hands steady anymore. You know what? No, that's part of the game. You either learn to get control of yourself and continue playing, or you lose and you try again in the next tournament.
Yeah, no, I agree. So,
agreed. Signed.
Agreed.
Yeah, no disagreement there, Dan. So,
just the way it should be.
Tonic, do you finally have a question, or?
I found one. It says playtime for each of us. How long have you been playing Evolve, and how much are you playing now? I picked this because I'm interested in Corey's answer, actually.
Between two platforms,
hold on.
Yeah, I actually had to find mine on Steam. I have just over 400, but I'd say it's roughly 350 hours of strict competitive play. It's not. I don't really do.
Yeah, it's not all competitive.
Yeah.
I still enjoy playing the game. Let's see, if I add in the press copy time and the time on the game, and now the time on Xbox, which is I think 60 hours now, I've got about 730 hours on Evolve total. So that's, you know, that's not depressing at all.
I've seen players with worse.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll make the argument a lot of it's AFK time, all right? Yeah.
There was a point when I was up with all of you guys, but with me not competing anymore, you know, with doing the casting thing, and working on everything else that I work on behind the scenes. I think I'm down around 350 right now.
Saber.
We won't even go to that.
I mean, that's. I'll just say this: it's tough for me to calculate how much time I spent on Evolve because I do all the Evolve hype stuff. So, but I think on Steam I have like 250 hours, something like that. But it's probably like triple in real organizing time and.
No, I looked. You've got about
all that shenanigans.
370.
What is
300. It's 366.
Ah,
impressive.
Wow, really?
I did not think. I did not think you played Evolve that much.
Fuck. Damn. All right. Well, cool. Whatever. Yeah, I like Evolve.
Oh, there you go.
So I don't feel guilty at all.
You don't say.
Yeah, Pythios is right. I also do have the most observer time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Most experienced observer in the game.
Oh, wow. We've got a ton more questions here. Yeah, we can take a couple more, and then we'll end it in the next 5 or 10 minutes.
Say more questions each.
No, that would actually be too much. We'll do like two more questions total, and that's it.
I tried.
You did try, but we do want to keep it to just under 2 hours for YouTube.
There you go.
So real quick, someone call one out. Whoever calls one out gets the next question.
Okay, I don't know how this is a question, but ravioli, give me the formioli.
Yeah, that's not a question. Have there been any new teams in the 100K that have been doing well? Corey and Saber, do you guys know?
Yeah. Hang on, Yeah, there is.
I guess you could say Vanquish, but they've already been a team for a long time. I mean, Mammoth OP, I didn't know them beforehand, so... But really...
I didn't put on my bracket.
Okay, here's one. This will be it right here. For everyone, as a whole, taking into account all the characters, which class do you think is the most balanced, and which one needs the most work?
Trapper most balanced, and most work probably the medics. I think that's gonna be pretty much what everyone says. Like, I don't know. You can pretty much pick any trapper and do fine. It's more like, I feel like the trapper, like, I'll give you an example, like DTR really favors Abe. And they play around, like, Abe's strengths. And, most teams will favor, like, Maggie, just because she's safe in all regards. But when you, like, look at the medic pick, it's pretty much Kyra, and, well, Kyra.
Yep.
So
it's always going to be Kyra until they bring the other ones up.
Yeah.
So yeah, and
so as a class, then you would say medic needs the most work.
They need the most work.
Trapper's in the best position. Yeah. I would agree, and the statistics show it too. In fact, let me see if I can actually pull them up real quick from the last week. Where is it? Right here. I think. Yep. Here we go. Yeah, so last week, I was actually just looking at this a couple days ago when I was working on another project. But I mean, we actually had a fairly even split between Maggie and Griffin. We didn't see any Abe or Crow, but I feel like we're going to start to see them very, very soon, especially Crow. I'm not sure why we didn't see Crow last week, since I think Crow is really, really good.
He's a lot of fun, too. So that's always a big thing.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun. Yeah. We actually saw a bigger split in support last week, with every single one of them being picked except for Bucket, and a good split with assaults too, 50-50 Markov and Hyde. But medic, Kyra had like 95% of all medic picks.
Yeah, Val was picked one game, and Kyra was picked one game.
Yeah. That was it.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll get better. I think TRS is aware of that. And I guess I'll add like a little thing to the end of this question before we wrap things up. The medics and Bucket. Like
that's
Bucket.
I was gonna make that argument. I was gonna be like
the medics and Bucket.
Yeah, no. Support needs the most work because Bucket takes up like 400's worth of work because Bucket is so cool, but it's just like it needs a lot of work. And actually, I was thinking of making an argument as well that where Sunny is right now, I think is better than where it was, and I'm scared that they may still try and nerf her, as well as Cabot. A lot of Cabot players that are trying to do it competitively are really just kind of like damage amping, and so while Man, it's tough because I just want to say medic and it'd be easy, right? But I think that and Hank's really good as well. So it's definitely medic, but I feel like support is definitely second place. Not a close second, but pretty close to a close second. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would definitely work on the medics and then the support if a dev team is watching this and they're trying to balance like a class or something like that.
Yeah, because there we go. We just fixed evolve. Yeah. I mean, I just want Bucket to be viable. That's my dream for one day to say, hey, let's pick Bucket. But I can't. I can never say that right now. So.
Yeah, not yet. At
Someone
least.
just had a really
maybe
interesting
sometime
idea
soon.
in the comments. Bucket needs to be able to teleport to his head's location.
We were actually talking about that. I kind of said that half jokingly, but it actually would be pretty cool.
Because I mean, you would still have to use it strategically. Because if you go too far out, you're going to get wrecked by the monster.
Right.
So that's kind of
or quick travel, if not teleport. But yeah, something like that for sure. But yeah, we do have to wrap up now. So we will close things out. Tonic, why don't you say your final words? Tell the chat about yourself, your channel, and where to find you on Twitch and Twitter, and then we'll go counterclockwise around back to me.
All right. Well, I am Tonic. I play medic for the team Stage 3 with no relation to this podcast.
None at all.
None at all. I do stream every night, if not every other night, if not every night. It depends on what I'm doing during the day. If I'm too tired, I don't want to show up on stream like that and like drag things out. You can find me streaming at twitch.tv/tonic with one eye is 2pro, and then let's see, yeah, I think that's it. Oh, also follow me on Twitter at tonic is 2pro.
All right, and Saber.
So you guys know who I am, what I do, evolvehype.com. So everything evolvehype.com. So twitter.com/evolvehype, blah, 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 all that stuff. And shout out to both my teams. Shout out to this stream. Dan does an awesome job. Keep watching, guys. Keep following. Shout out to my co-founder, Alan Dizzle Larson. Diz is always supporting us in the background, and he deserves a shout out. And yeah, evolvehype.com. Go hype.
Evolvehype.com. All right. And Corey, member of EvolveHype.
Yeah, no bias on here.
None at all.
Hype. Jesus Christ. Yeah, if I ever do stream, 10 years since Insane stream, twitch.tv/insane521. Also on Twitter. I really don't Twitter that much, though, but if you really care, that's where you can find me. I will be trying to stream now a lot more, though, that midterms are over, and be watching out for us in the Proving Grounds tournament on Xbox, and hopefully you'll see us in Burbank. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
Oh, and shout out to Chicken and Waffles.
No,
Chicken and Waffles, of course.
Chicken and Waffles.
Chicken and Waffles on the West Coast.
Oh, God.
All right, guys. Thank you all so much for coming on the show. This is the second episode of the Stage 3 broadcast. Guys, thank you all in chat for coming out. Another great showing today. Love to see all your faces. Make sure, if you like the show, you let all your friends know about it. Follow the channel if you haven't done so already. If you do like the show and you want to get notified when we come back. We will be broadcasting this weekend. We will be doing the Sunday Cup, the PC, and maybe some more cool new things in the future very soon as well. But we'll have more info about that next week. I think I will be going live tomorrow doing viewer games for at least the majority of the afternoon. So make sure to tune in for that as well if you want to play with some of the pros or against some of the pros. Maybe get a couple tips. But for now, thank you all so much for tuning in. We are going to go to a raid in just a minute. We're just going to do the closeout screen for YouTube, and then we'll be right back in about 15 seconds.
Chicken and Waffles.